Welcome everyone. My name is Defne Arslan. I'm Senior Director of Atlantic Council in Turkey and Turkey programs in Washington DC and in Istanbul. Today we are here together in Istanbul at the Limak offices with Limak Chairperson Ms. Ebru Özdemir. And Ebru Özdemir is also International Advisory Board Member at the Atlantic Council. Ebru Hanım, welcome. Thank you for hosting us today in your offices for a sad occasion, actually. We are here to speak about the earthquake that Turkey suffered from recently. Over 45,000 people died. Many people are, just out of their homes. This is estimated that 1/5 of the country is impacted. And the whole area, just was hosting over 18 million people, and a lot of people were displaced as well. It was a huge disaster affecting many people, so there's a lot of human aspect. Maybe we can start with what you have felt when you first heard about earthquake as a human. Just what was your first reaction, and we can start with that. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity, because I think this interview is at a very right time, and the help should be really continuous. So it was everybody get together in the first days, we helped them, but this is such a big tragedy that the help should be there to continuously provide it to them. So we are at that moment. As you said, it's a very big tragedy, and unfortunately it happened in our home. It's very close to our heart. And there was a lot of help going from all the Turkish companies, all the Turkish public to the region, not only Turkish, but also a lot of help coming internationally. And we've seen a lot of rescue efforts. I was in Ankara when the terrible earthquake happened, and I learned it at 6 a.m. I mean, I wake up generally 6 early. But we didn't feel it in Ankara. But as soon as I got the news, we have a lot of investments in the region. The earthquake was coming from Kahramanmaraş, but we have hydropower plants there, we have factories there, we have a port there. So the first, of course, reaction from me was, is everybody safe? So we started to call everyone, all our investments, all the CEOs. And we realized that everything is fine except the port, which had some little damage, but everybody was safe in the first instance. But afterwards, of course, we put a committee together from all our group functions, and we started to work on what we can do immediately. And in the morning, as we're a construction company, we have a lot of construction equipment around, and we started to mobilize them. Plus, we have a lot of people who are engineers, but also construction people who are working in construction sites who can help in the rescue efforts. Because as Turkey is an earthquake region, we know what's going on. I mean, in the beginning, you really need rescue teams to be mobilized with the equipment like excavators to help in the rescue efforts. But at the same time, as we know, we started to our team started to supply the tents, food, and hygienic material. This was the second step that we worked on. And afterwards, as we realized when the time is passing, the damage of the earthquake, there's not a lot of place to live, as many buildings has been collapsed. We started to establish container cities. We ordered the containers. Actually, one of them is about to be ready in Hatay in a couple of days. The other one is in Iskenderun. It's going to be ready in days as well. All the efforts is in the region. We have more than 800 people worked in the rescue efforts. And in the port, we have around 1,200 people. They were voluntarily working at the same time. But we brought some families from our port to Ankara because they didn't have any place to stay. Yes, we provided a lot of tents. We still do provide. We still provide food. And our construction equipment is still working on the sites, now trying to take out all the buildings and so forth. But as I said, this is a continuous effort. I mean, we have to really work on for a long time to make all these 11 cities to come back to life again.
How do you assess the economic impact of this earthquake in the short and long term?
So 11 cities are affected. Some cities are affected more than the others. There are some reports being published, but the World Bank report says it's going to be around $50 to $40 billion. Because the issue is this, I mean, we have 1,200 people work in our port, but most of them, they don't have homes. I mean, so in order to have these people work in the ports or in the industry or in the factories, we need accommodation for these people. So we haven't, I mean, before we had earthquakes, but in a smaller scale, but this scale is very huge, and it's a very important region. I mean, Gaziantep is the 6th biggest export town of all Turkey, and I mean, it's going to be, as I said in the beginning, it's going to be a continuous effort, and it has to be planned very well, starting from the accommodation for the people, then to the industry. But I'm sure that it's a strong region, and we'll be able to bring the factories. I know some factories are damaged in Kahramanmaraş especially. Some roads are damaged, but we are taking all the necessary precautions, and I think the government and the public and the private sector, everybody is working together to make this region function economically as soon as possible.
You're right. Turkey has been a just major pioneer in PPP projects, and your company knows this very well, and I'm sure there could be similar models, and it's also very encouraging, as you said, that just we heard this week from the World Bank, and I'm sure the other IFIs may be also just playing major roles for reconstruction of the region, and maybe in the medium term this new construction, all this just may lead to just accelerate the economic growth as well. So let's cross the fingers. But this is the just capital part, but there's also, as you said, human aspect, because a lot of lives lost. Yes. So there's a psychology aspect. There are also children in the region that we should be thinking about. Not only Turkey, but all the everybody should be thinking about. I think it's very important just to find shelter and new homes to these children as well.
You are very right in the sense that all the schools are demolished too. I mean, not only the houses, the schools, a lot of lives has been lost, and you see a lot of trauma in the region. This is the earthquakes, the smaller scale earthquakes are continuing. And the people who has lived the earthquakes there, even they tremble in the small earthquakes. I mean, I think this trauma, especially with the children, it's very tough. I think we should work with also the psychologists, the schools, and so forth. So it's going to be a very big collaboration. But it was very nice to see also a lot of help was provided from international, not only the countries, but on the personal level. So many people, so many of our friends, business partners, they called me and they asked from the day one, they asked how they can help. I mean, this was really precious. And it was very good, it was a good feeling to see that they're thinking of us, their hearts are with us, because this was a very, very big trauma, not only for the people who live there, but also for the whole country. And as you said, a lot of efforts are going to be needed to bring this region back.
I'd like to ask you, you yourself is a civil engineer as well, so it will take time, of course, to restructure everything, but what is your expectation to really, and what should be the planning ahead for the region as a civil engineer yourself, just as an expert? And because there has been a lot of criticism as well about, construction in the region, and, just this was also all over the place, also, just in the foreign press as well, not only in the Turkish press. So what do you say about that? What should have been done in the past, and what was missed, and what should be focused on in the future?
So Turkey is an earthquake region. I mean, we cannot change that, and we will still, unfortunately, have a different scale of earthquakes. So as I'm a civil engineer, we had many classes in this aspect as well. And what I have, I mean, and from my life as a civil engineer, or from my life of a company, being in a company who's building not only in Turkey but around Turkey, is we have to build responsible. I mean, this is very important. It's every building, every structure has to be built responsibly and according to the codes of that earthquake region, because everything is written. I mean, there are some codes, that you have to build whatever you are building according to that systematics. So, and this is our responsibility to be able to build structures that are resilient. So build resilient structures is the other thing. The Iskenderun port was very resilient. I mean, the forces received is like 1.5 G, and we brought back all the people we work with, and the designers and the equipment providers. We are working on how we are going to start the operations, and we have to check everything before we start. That's very important. But they say the same thing. I mean, we designed according to the earthquake criteria. It worked very well, and the criteria was repairable. Now we're going to repair it as soon as possible. And no lives was lost during the operation, because ports are built, I mean, to operate 24 hours. Unfortunately, 6 of our staff has passed away. They may rest in peace, but they were in their homes, not in the port operations. This is very sad. But my responsibility and our company's responsibility is to keep lives alive during any kind of earthquake. So what, for example, we have built Sabiha Gökçen Airport in Istanbul, the second airport in Istanbul. And when we started building, we realized that it's close to the earthquake region, and Istanbul's the earthquake region. And it's a very critical building. Airports are very critical. Airports, hospitals, bridges that we build in Çanakkale, for example. So that time, it was around 2006, 2007. The seismic isolators was very new, and they were used massively in US. So we worked with some professors and companies, consultants from US. We decided to put seismic isolators, 300 seismic isolators below Sabiha Gökçen terminal building, so that this structure can stay as it is in case of an earthquake damage that may happen there. Of course, there's also the different scales of happening. So this is, and we thought we were very responsible in doing that, because we found these people. We brought the isolators when we applied it, and it was the biggest application of seismic isolators in the world that time, in 2007. And we won an award. We are like chosen one of the 8 buildings in the world that are very safe. So basically, my view is this: if we do our work, we have to do it in the most responsible way. Of course, you cannot prevent damage, but we have to prevent the damage to the human life. This is very important. All damages can be rebuilt, but we have to definitely try to try to have the humans alive in these earthquakes and so forth. But I think as civil engineers and Turkish women engineers, global engineer girls, our responsibility is to be responsible in whatever we build or whatever operation we make. As you say, we are making this positive discrimination. We say that women are more successful. Maybe women are more, they work more in detail. But we trust our civil engineers in the system. I'm in touch with them, and we're like checking what could have been done better, what should we do next, how we can improve the quality of the system, quality of the buildings. Not only the buildings, the factories, the infrastructure as well. One of the things that we also did, because we own cement factories, we provided with 2 other companies cement to the Hatay airport, because when even the rescue efforts comes, if the airports are damaged, so it becomes very hard to reach to the cities as well. So the Hatay airport was the closest to Hatay, but then it was repaired in 2 days. So we provided non-stop cement operation because they needed that for the repair. But as I said, thank you very much for your comments about women engineers, but I always say that the world will be saved by women. So we take the engineering part.
Ebru Hanım, thank you again.